to popular belief, humanism is not merely an explication of what one doesn't believe in. The Humanist Manifesto states that humanism is a progressive philosophy of life that, without supernaturalism, affirms the ability and responsibility to lead ethical and moral lives with personal fulfillment that aspire to the greater good of humanity. As good humanists, this means that we have certain obligations. In particular, we have a duty to actively engage and initiate discourse within our community and support not only tolerance and diversity, but pluralism as well. Ibu Patel, president and founder of the Interfaith Youth Corps and member of President Obama's Advisory Council on Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, explains that pluralism is neither forced coexistence nor forced consensus. Instead, religious pluralism is energetic engagement that affirms the unique identity of each particular religious tradition and community. Tonight's discussion is one whose very structure is informed by the values of pluralism. This forum doesn't seek to advance a single worldview or utilize dogma to illustrate absolute truths. Tonight's goal is instead to connect with our community members here at Tufts on a level of honesty where difference of opinion is not only permitted, but desired. I would like to thank members Walker Bristol and Ben Chamberlain for their work in organizing this event. Ben's back there recording, and Walker's sitting up front here. Without their commitment, we would not be here tonight. Of course, we would also not be here without our participants. So I would like to thank the Muslim Students Association at Tufts, the Tufts Democrats, Tufts Christian Fellowship, and the Catholic community at Tufts for joining us. Just a disclaimer, their participation on this forum does not necessarily entail that they support the proposed humanist chaplaincy here at Tufts. My hope is that after watching this event tonight, you see a group that maybe speaks for you or stands out to you, and I hope that you seek out either the participants here in the forum, myself, or anyone else in the room to find out how you can better get yourself involved in one of the great communities here at Tufts. Our moderator this evening is Professor Ben Hescott, the recipient of the 2011 Computer Science and Engineering Undergraduate Teaching Award from the IEEE Computer Society, also known as the world's greatest computer science award. And he is also the faculty advisor for the Tufts Freethought Society. Our panelists tonight are Ibraham Khwaja, president of the Muslim Students Association, Brian Long, the president of the Tufts Democrats, Charles Skold, member of the Vision and Planning team of the Tufts Christian Fellowship, Emily Bartlett, the social membership director of the Catholic community at Tufts, and David Johnson, the president of Tufts Freethought Society. And before Ben takes over, Charles has an announcement to make.
Yeah, thank you. So delighted to be here. They're giving me a few minutes just to pub an activity that the Christian Fellowship is actually doing tomorrow. It's called the Veritas Forum, and what that is, it's an outside speaker coming to Tufts, and the idea of it is to intersect academia and different discussions with big questions like meaning of life and science and religion and God. And this one is on human rights in a pluralistic society. And so as tonight we'll be looking at kind of human rights and religious freedom kind of from a policy perspective and how our different faiths influence that. Tomorrow we'll be looking at that from a philosophical question. What's the underpinning of human rights? How do we reconcile human rights with this pluralism that we have in society? So we have outside speaker and activist Dr. Vinath Ramachandra coming, as well as Professor Katrina Sweat from the IR department. They will be speaking, and there'll be time for question and answer. It's going to be a great event, and some people are passing out some flyers right now. So thank you. Look forward to that tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Now, without further ado, I present to you Ben Hescott, who will lead the first ever Humanist Forum. So the format for tonight is essentially I will go through and talk and direct pre-prepared questions. So pre-prepared questions that were given to the entire panelists ahead of time. So they've had a chance to actually look at this. They may have prepared a particular response. I will single out individuals I'd like to talk and answer the question directly, but of course I expect that everyone would want to sort of pipe in and talk about it. At the end around 8 o'clock, we'll end that portion, and it'll be an opportunity for each of you to direct questions, and I'll facilitate those as well. So let's go ahead and get started. When I was reading through the questions, actually, the very first question actually seemed like the very first question I wanted to start with. It regards a lot of French politics. The first question that was addressed was,
The French law on secularity and conspicuous religious symbols in schools bans the wearing of any ostentatious religious symbols in public primary and secondary schools. So that's the first sort of setup. And the question is it ethical? So I want to key in on the word ethical. And I can't help but, sort of being that I'm related to many, many Catholics, today is Ash Wednesday. I would like to actually start with you, Emily.
Sure. So I think that it's important to note that the Catholic faith and tradition is based off of the fact that individuals are made in God's image and likeness, and human dignity is a really big aspect of our faith. So this is going to touch on every single question that I address from my perspective. And again, this is my personal perspective. I am Catholic, but not to override the opinions of everyone else who identifies as Catholic. And so I think that in this regard, we have to understand that people have their own rights. Like, human dignity in itself means that you have the right to your own liberties and your own pursuits. And so I think that it would not be ethical, is the answer to the question. And I think that if we take this into the U.S. court system, I know we're speaking about France, but like the whole point of the U.S. public school system is that you walk into the door and you don't lose your rights. You don't lose the rights that were afforded you in the Bill of Rights, in the Constitution. And I think that's something that is commendable in our society here in this country. And I'm not saying that we need to apply U.S. law everywhere, but I do agree with that, and I think that when we look at things in our court system regarding the school system, we think about safety first, and you have to go back and think about, was this what they were considering in France when they made this, when they're trying to pass this law? Is this about safety? Are they concerned that these students are going to be, attacked or something due to their religious beliefs? But the bottom line is that it's not ethical to keep someone from being who he or she thinks he or she is. And I think that that's the bottom line, and so the answer would be no.
Excellent, thank you. Would anyone else like to continue on that same discussion?
I actually would disagree with the previous answer. I think that in a certain circumstance and done in the proper way, and I think the French have gotten very close to doing it in the proper way, something similar to this is acceptable. A little bit of background on what the French have done. It wasn't a movement that started in 2003 that the French decided in response to some of the recent terrorist attacks that they were going to ban certain religious symbols. No, what it stems from is a law that passed in 1905 that officially established through the legislation that separation of church and state was mandated. And actually, interesting, included atheism as well, so the government was not allowed to support atheism. And so secularity in France is a very important part of the culture, and the way that it's manifested in this situation is that they feel that in a public school, students have the right to learn and to be educated in an environment free from any opportunity for other groups to proselytize. And they feel that many of the religious symbols, especially the larger and more conspicuous religious symbols, kind of go in that direction. And in a way, the French system has even taken into account those who choose to wear them and refuse to take them off. The private school system in France is sometimes subsidized by the government, and students have been, in special cases, received subsidies to go to private schools so that they can continue to wear their religious apparel if they feel the need to do so. So I think in a circumstance like this, preserving the secular nature of the state in the public schools has been done properly, and those people who feel that it's too important for the way that their life is lived to take off such religious symbols to attend public school are welcome to attend private school and to do so at an incredibly affordable rate. In fact, many of the private schools in France that you can attend cost for monthly tuition only twice that what it costs to receive a landline in your home. So.